Tizo Touchdown has been on an absolute tear this year, getting features not just on a major Travis Scott album, but also on a major Drake album. He also has a song featured in a Burger King commercial, and when you have this much success this early in your career, you're doing something right. Despite all this success, Tizo's been at this since 2019, but it seems 2023 is finally his breakout year, and I couldn't be happier for him. This guy brings a style to the table that bends so many genres and musical boundaries, and most importantly, has a unique personality. Now, look, I'm not saying Tizo's the first artist to try this rock, rap, pop sort of style, and we're gonna get into some more artists later in the video, but this is still not an easy thing to pull off. Plus, compared to some of his contemporaries, he has something that gives him an edge. And that's humor. To me, humor has always seemed like something very difficult to incorporate into music. There's such a high chance of a joke not landing that a lot of musicians probably just avoid it entirely. But Tizo, on the other hand, it's like 80% of his style. Every song he makes has this goofy vibe even when he's singing about something serious. And I'm definitely not implying that he's corny. I love that he does this. You can argue he literally made modern jam a hit, but let's be real, his part has a goofy, eccentric vibe. But again, I love it. It's my favorite part on that whole album. There are multiple instances of this happening on his debut album as well, which I'm also a huge fan of. For example, the song which is basically a sex anthem. But, unlike a lot of songs that go down that lane, it's not gross, it doesn't blatantly say it's a sex anthem, it's catchy, and I'd even call it kind of endearing. It shows off Tizo's capability to combine catchy pop melodies with this rock-oriented instrumentation. There's a certain charm and romance to it that makes it one of my favorite songs on the album. Familiarity is another one of those songs that combines this serious topic of searching for a purpose and getting on your feet in life with these funny lyrics and melodies. It's baffling to me how he can make these relatable songs while still being so charismatic and hilarious. He's not self-serious at all, but he's still delivering meaningful messages, and that's what I feel like sets him apart. The last highlight I'm going to talk about for Tizo is his performance on Neighborhood, which is probably the most unique song on the album. It has sort of an 80s funk backdrop, and Tizo's almost just like talk singing, but the chorus is the real highlight that brings the song together. And you learn the song's not just about the neighborhood, but the hood. But again, Tizo takes a very serious topic, makes it charming, makes it catchy, and makes it an amazing song. I cannot wait to see what this guy does next. He is so refreshing to have in the music scene, and we need more boundary-pushing artists like Tizo Touchdown. And we have some. One of their names is Dawson. Gene's been going at it just as long as Tizo, releasing his first single in 2018. And I think I'm the biggest fan of this guy on earth. Just like Tizo, Gene has a weapon in his arsenal that sets him apart. And that's his ability to combine aggression with beauty and big walls of sound. Gene said in an interview with Fantano that a lot of his influence comes from 90s dream pop and shoegaze artists like the Cocteau Twins, but his come up is reminiscent of an underground rapper. Because of this, it's no surprise his music has turned out the way it did. Gene released his debut album Bad Sports in 2019, but really started gaining traction in 2020 when he released Pixel Bath, his sophomore effort. 2020 was the perfect year to release this album, as it's all about escapism and has a bittersweet light to it that a lot of people probably benefited from during the pandemic. In my opinion, Gene is really the first solo artist to nail this noisy rock rap pop style in a way that feels catchy and accessible. He feels like the pioneer for this genre, as so many artists are trying to replicate the style now. 90s Green Screen is Gene's first big song that I think showcases what he does very well. The lo-fi vibes paired with this super catchy electric guitar riff lead into an explosive chorus that showcases that aggression I mentioned earlier. Clear Bones is the biggest highlight in his catalog for me, and is a song that has stuck with me since it came out. The Midwest emo-ish opening guitar riff and Mr. Reaper hook are guaranteed to get stuck in your head, but then the song explodes into this emotional roller coaster that has Gene battling with life and death. But of course, life prevails in the end. Triple Double is another amazing song off of Pixel Bath featuring A$AP Rocky, showcasing some of Gene's hip-hop ability. If you like nostalgic 2000s sounding music, you're gonna love this one. If you're a hip-hop head, I recommend starting here and going outwards. Moving on to Gene's latest effort, Chaos Now, He really finds his stride within the rock genre, fully embracing the chaos of his music. This album is so introspective, you really get a look into Gene's mind state, and every hook is absolutely explosive. Even when a song isn't super eccentric, it's super deep and thoughtful, such as The Beautiful Bad Fruit, which features an emotional Earl Sweatshirt verse. It's funny going from a song like that to a song like Glory, which feels more like Gene venting all his frustration into one song, not just through his vocal delivery, but through his instrumentation. The album is exactly what it says it is. A lot of chaos presented in an organized, loud, but beautiful way. Gene can really do it all. He released a few singles this year, one with SZA that's just absolutely gorgeous, and a darker solo song, Delusional World Champion, which sounds like a great leftover from Chaos Now. Gene's song structures are some of the best in music right now, and that's why he's featured in this video. If you like punk, if you like indie rock, if you like melodic rap, if you like more aggressive sort of pop, you gotta check out Gene Dawson. Kenny Mason. Now, I saved him for last because I feel like he's not pushing the boundaries as much as Tizo or Gene, but he's well on his way to doing so. And from looking at his Spotify, it looks like he's been at it longer than either of them, so he's kind of the veteran of this crew. But as opposed to Tizo and Gene, who are more rock and pop oriented, Kenny has a little more hip-hop in him. The first time I heard Kenny was on his Play Ball single, a little rock rap melodic banger. I love the flows, I love the vibes, I love the premise. Kenny is on here for his amazing flow switch capabilities. A lot of people compare him to Jid, but don't disrespect him by saying he's a Jid clone. He's not. He's also on here for his lyricism. Like, he does not mess around when it comes to his lyrics. In fact, he dropped one of the best verses of the year on the new Paris, Texas album, which was unfortunately a disappointing record. I wish I could have been able to talk about them in this video, but that record just didn't really do it for me. But that's not here nor there. Let's talk about this Kenny Mason verse. I'm not going to recap the whole thing. You can go listen to it. It's called D&D. But listen to some of these lyrics. They're gonna try to say a rock rap like it's not rap. Guess that mean it don't count when they get out rapped. Saying it ain't rock on a rock track. Guessing when you black, it's all trap. That was way harder to sound out than I thought it would be. Other than that feature, Kenny has plenty of incredible solo tracks that showcase his versatility. Zoomies and Halos immediately come to mind, both tracks with fantastic flow switches and aggression. Zoomies more on the rock side, Halos more on the rap side. Nosedive is another huge highlight for me. So aggressive, so chaotic, and actually features Gene Dawson, which is pretty cool. Another song I want to bring up is Nike 2, which he released way back in 2018, but deserves a mention anyway. It reminds me of classic SoundCloud rap. Kenny sounds so hungry, and he makes a simple beat sound incredible with a masterclass in rap flows. What's crazy is Kenny is so talented, he's made so many great tracks, and I still don't think he's reached his full potential. So I look forward to when he drops that magnum opus. Okay, so I lied to your faces. I am not saving Kenny Mason for last. As I was editing this video, I realized there's one more artist that I really need to talk about. And she's in a completely different vein than the three guys mentioned in this video, but deserves a mention regardless. Spelling has made some incredible art pop over the past couple years. Obviously, back in 2021, The Turning Wheel was an Album of the Year contender. She really feels like the second coming of Kate Bush, yet she still has her own unique style, making these mystical, magical art pop cuts. Whoever she's working with on the production side of things is absolutely killing it to match with her vibe and voice. She released another album this year that I really like that has her working with a new band called The Mystery School. We even see a couple songs from The Turning Wheel make it onto this record and I don't know if they're remixed or they're live versions, but they're all fantastic. I don't know if there's a pop artist that has carved out a niche quite like this in a very long time. Spelling is definitely an artist to watch out for in the future. She's so early into her career and has released countless great projects already. I just love how everything is so medieval and almost fairy tale like. Spelling's way of world building is absolutely incredible for a musician. You think of directors and writers, and it's a lot easier to world build in a medium like that, but in music, it's a really hard thing to do. So I really commend Spelling for that, and she's one of the best at it right now. Boys at School is probably my favorite song from Spelling. It has an incredible incredible song progression. The way each layer of instrumentation is added makes the song so mysterious. Queen of Wands is another highlight off the turning wheel that is much darker than most of Spelling's other work. She really utilizes that staccato in her voice and comes off as menacing. Those are my two favorite tracks on that album, but on the new album there are some amazing songs that fit perfectly with Halloween, which is coming up soon. Under the Sun and Haunted Water need to be added to your Halloween playlist immediately. Hell, just go check out her whole catalog. Anywho, that's just a small snippet I wanted to make for Spelling. She deserves to be on this list even though she's in a much different lane than the other three artists I talked about. However, she might be pushing boundaries the most out of all three of them. Thank you guys for watching. You gotta check all these guys out if you haven't yet. I've even made it easier for you and put a playlist with all their big highlights in the description, so you have no excuses. Anyway, thanks again guys. We'll see you in the next one. I'm the Anti-Hipster Indie Nerd, and I'm out.